Now, we talked about the daunting scenario of typing something in and you got too many results, right? So if let's say I invented a razor. If I typed razor just into the Patent Office website, I'd probably get at least 10,000 hits. It's not practical, it's too many. So there are different ways to reduce that number to be more relevant. So for example, if I invented an electric razor, I could combine electric and razor, and that would narrow down how many hits I had, just like it would when you're on Google or Yahoo. But something that you can't really do easily just searching in Google per se is restrict the search to the abstract. The abstract is basically a one-paragraph summary that is in most newer patents. When I say newer, I mean starting at around 1970 or so. So when I search only in that one-paragraph summary, I'm more likely to get something that actually pertains to a razor, rather than if I just search razor through the whole document, then anybody who offhandedly mentions a razor is going to come up as a hit. So on the Patent Office website, which I'll give you in an upcoming slide, there's a drop-down box where you could say, search in the abstract. And I find that that is pretty useful to help get more relevant hits and filter out some of the unrelevant hits. Now there's other useful information you can get from a patent. Here's one for the punching bag we're going to talk about in the second part of the class. And you see they called it a training bag apparatus, so they didn't use the word punching. But that's okay. There's a couple cool things that we can learn when we see a patent. One is the assignee. Assignee is basically a person or company that owns a patent. Now, not all patents have assignees, but many of them do. So let's say I invented a punching bag, and then I search and I find this, and I say, there's an assignee, Century Incorporated is what that says. Then I could say, well, if that company owns this punching bag patent, maybe that's the kind of company that would be interested in the gizmo I've just invented. So as I search, and I can take note of these assignees, I can help identify companies that, well, they own this, and even if I've never heard of Century Incorporated, I can at least learn about who they are, and maybe they are interested in my idea. I also get classes and subclasses, and they have it for international, has their own system in the United States, has a different system, but you get basically these things are the class subclass combinations, and as I said, it can have more than one class and subclass. Another cool thing is this references cited. What this means is that when this patent was being processed through the Patent Office, the Patent Office themselves did their own search, and they came up with these. And these are other patents that might be relevant. Now, when you're doing this online, all these patents are hyperlinks, so you can just click on them and read them. So it's sort of like, by finding this, another search has been done for you, and you can click on some of these and see what they say. So you get those three pieces of information: classes and subclasses, assignee if somebody owns this, and other related patents. So it's a pretty cool thing, and especially on the web, because then you can just click on these and read those as well. So we get this stuff. What do we do now? We think about, how different is what we found from what our invention is, and are those differences worth anything? Okay. And how easy, to your point, might it be to design around these differences? Here's an example of design around. General Motors has a patent that when you put your car into drive, the power locks lock. So as soon as you put it in drive, you hear a click. Now Volkswagen, they would also like to lock the doors automatically, but what they do is you put it in drive, everything's still unlocked. And as soon as you go about 10 miles an hour, locks. So you think Volkswagen was thinking, well, maybe they're not really committed to taking a ride. They might want to get out. We should only, when they're going really fast, can we safely assume they're going to be going? Or is it more that they would be able to look at that General Motors patent and say, hey, you're saying when you put the car in drive, lock the doors. We're locking the doors, but it has nothing to do with the gear that the transmission is set to, so we're not doing what you're doing. So that's an example of design around. How easy would it be to identify infringement? Infringement is when someone is making, using, or selling your idea without your permission. And so, basically, what we want to know is, ideally, it would be nice to just look at it and say, oh yeah, you're doing my idea, you're infringing upon me. Or would it be the type of thing where you'd have to take it apart and look at it with an electron microscope to know? So this is just questions we ask ourselves to decide if we're going to go forward. Now, here are some websites that I like to use when I'm doing a search. The first one is the Patent Office, the United States Patent Office website. And so I recommend people go there. This one is the European Patent Office website, which actually I estimate has probably 70 to 80% of it is in English. There's a lot of English there because English is one of the popular languages even for other countries to use. So you can do some good searching there. Google has their own patent search. So if you do google.com/patents, you can search there. And the cool thing about Google is that they have scanned most of the United States database and made it text searchable. So with Google, you could do a text search and even go older than 1976, unlike with the Patent Office. And this free patents online I like, because this is the kind where you can give it keywords, and it tries to be sophisticated and like rank them in terms of relevance. So if I could put electric, razor, rechargeable, and it would come up with a list that's sort of ranked by what it thinks is the most relevant. And as the name implies, it is free. These are all free to do searching, so I encourage people to check them out.